Welcome in, and on this Wednesday now, we got plenty of NBA action here tonight. We're going to break down a few of the more intriguing matchups, see if we can find a couple of edges. We'll throw out a couple of best bets that we're looking at, not to mention we'll focus on a total and an appearance by the contrarian gods here tonight. Ready to roll, and we get to break these games down with three of our favorites here at WagerTalk.com. As Mr. Profit in the house, Skee Profit in the house, RC is here, Ronald Kabang, and of course, Mr. Rob Vino, ready to roll here, gentlemen, on a loaded card here tonight. Like this card, maybe a few less blowouts than we had last night. One can only hope, but we're going to start, as we always do, hearing from the contrarian gods here tonight. They are focusing on a game, and I think it's an interesting one. The Minnesota Timberwolves. What? How can the Timberwolves be a contrarian play? Well, aren't they the best defense? Well, yeah, and they're getting 9, and everyone's betting the Celtics. Second of a back-to-back here, Skee, for your Minnesota Timberwolves. I couldn't believe when I saw some of these numbers. I mean, it's just there. Well, no way you can back Minnesota on a second of a back-to-back. I don't know why, but the contrarian gods feel that maybe 9's a little over the top here.
Well, so far Minnesota is 0-2 without rest this season. They're only 2-5 as a road dog so far this season, and they haven't been playing their best basketball. They've only covered, I think, 2 of their last 8 games. The Celtics are missing, I think what Drew got rolled in though, so they're only going to miss Porzingis. But I just don't know how much. I don't know how much the Celtics care about this game. They're probably also going to look at Minnesota arriving late and really think that they have a cakewalk through this game. I think they care more about beating the Bucks tomorrow in conference. A team they're going to see in the playoffs more times than not. I think that's the game that they want to show up for. So I think Minnesota can keep it within the number. Just one of those situations where it's a look-ahead spot. So I don't love it. It's not in my pocket, but I'll agree with the contrarian guys today.
Yeah, it's interesting, and it looks like the public thinks there's no way that RC that you could possibly back anybody but the Celtics in this here. But Skee brings up a good point. I mean, I thought maybe if you wanted to fade Minnesota, maybe that the time to do it was last night against Orlando. Maybe they were peeking ahead to this big matchup here, but they blew out Orlando last night, and now the Celtics are at home waiting for them. Is it as simple as backing the Celtics here, or did the contrarian gods have a point?
No, I think obviously the Timberwolves had some travel issues trying to get to Boston today. This did open. I think it opened at 6, right? Did you call that out? It opened at 6 and then ballooned up to 9. I mean, maybe it did shift because of the travel situation, but if it was for that reason specifically, I think that's a significant shift. That might be a little bit too much. Not only that, this is I think Skee called it out, a sandwich spot here, and non-conference opponent between 2 key conference opponents, right? They played the Pacers twice. Then they got the Bucks tomorrow, right? First leg of back-to-back games. I do also feel like that tomorrow is the more important game here, especially with it being a conference type game, conference game. And historically, you can I know Ralph Michaels and Skee uses the database that I use too, but you can look these types of situations up. I looked at non-conference games in between conference games where their next opponent is the next day, right? First leg of back-to-back games, and then also their opponent is a top-tier team, a team with a winning record, and that's a fade spot here. 41% ATS record. That means to fade the Celtics in the spot, you're pretty much covering at a 59% rate. To me, also with the Celtics having traveled a lot as well, right? In their recent schedule, had them traveling a lot, dealing with some questionable tags tonight. I think KP is already out. I think Drew was announced in not too long ago as well. I just feel like what Skee said, right? Tomorrow is the much more important game here. I think Minnesota's defense is good enough to keep this one close, even if they don't win. I know Boston, I think a lot of people back Boston just because they haven't lost at home, but we just need them to cover the numbers.
It's it's a good point. I mean, it's a big number here, Vino, especially going up. I guess you consider both of these teams as the two best defenses in the NBA, but something's got to give here. Late travel, who hasn't been there? We've kind of all been there here, Vino. These poor guys, running late, flying first class. It's got to be a total bitch. I don't know how they do it, Vino. Poor bastards. Getting that extra bottle of champagne and all, man. What are you thinking is going to happen in this game tonight?
Well, it must mean something to these guys, Joe. Take a look at a couple of these quotes. Jaden McDaniels. I haven't done this since probably AAU seasons. That was like the last time I did something like this. Mike Conley. I think I've done this once in my 16-year NBA career. I'm not looking forward to it. I'm not going to lie. Of course, he scratched. He was so not looking forward to it that he decided not to play in the game. So, I didn't realize that up the Atlantic seaboard from Orlando to Boston, but the weather was atrocious all the way up the seaboard. Living here, I know, last night, so the flight probably took a little extra long. And these guys, and these quotes are not good. Now, I had Minnesota yesterday under the premise that I thought that was a game they would seek to win. 5-game road trip. Looking to have a winning record at the end of that road trip. They went to the Orlando game 1-1 against a beat-up Orlando team. And you check some of the quotes from Chris Finch, and they sold out in that game. He thought they played as good and as hard as they played in quite some time, especially on the offensive end. And, I thought last night that they were going to lean toward the Indiana game on Friday without Halliburton in the Indiana lineup to finish off this trip in a winning situation. Maybe they would let this one go. So therefore, I'm a little bit torn here. Boston has been tremendous at home. Jason Tatum told us a long time ago, they want to win all the home games for these fans. They're like 17-0 at home so far this season. Doesn't mean they have to win by 10. But I don't know that without Gobert and Gobert's probably still questionable, but I guess I'm jumped to a conclusion that he'll be announced out. And without Conley, I'm not so sure, even though Minnesota's bench is pretty good, that I like the thought process from this team here. You know what? I'm going to take Boston here, Joe. I don't love it, as the two guys ahead of me, or at least Skee said he didn't love it. I don't love it either. But even with the game against Milwaukee tomorrow, I don't know that Milwaukee is as feared an opponent right now as maybe they were to start the season. So give me Boston minus the points.
Boston minus the points. Maybe a little team total fade of Minnesota, too. Might be in order with all of these guys screaming and yelling. All right, well, there you got it. Now we've got a featured matchup tonight here. Interesting game, too, out west as the Golden State Warriors get ready to take on the New Orleans Pelicans in this one. And if I'm not mistaken, I think we are seeing 3.5, maybe 2.5, rather, with the possibility of maybe New Orleans getting a little bit more money, becoming a 3-point favorite before tip here, Skee. 234 as a total. How are you breaking this one down with the Warriors, who could certainly use a win here?
Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm thinking about here. My recent performance stats, as far as the last 5 games, the categories that I care about, all favor the Pelicans. Offensive rating, defensive rating, rebound percentage. Pelicans have covered 4 of their last 5 games. So, they have been playing well, but to what you said, I do think Golden State is the more desperate team. They're 2 games below 500. And this is a team that, over the years, you can go back a bit. Whenever they're at home as an underdog, they perform pretty damn well. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I know for a fact those numbers are good. If you just look at this season, they're only 2-1-1 so far as a home dog. So whenever I get them in front of their home crowd getting points, I really want to look towards their way. And regular season, you have to look at who cares the most about the game. So with that in mind, I think the Warriors are that team. I would be looking towards them plus the short number.
So we got Draymond looming to return there, RC. It remains to be seen whether or not people are going to be excited about that. But no more Chris Paul, obviously, so they can use all hands on deck. Boy, this would make a pretty big statement if they were able at home as a dog to be able to beat this Pelicans squad. What do you think we're getting here tonight?
Yeah, I mean the side for me is tough. I think the total might be a better way to look. I know both of these teams are pretty well rested. If we're looking at momentum, I think Skee mentioned Pelicans have that in the bag, but I think Pelicans do have a potential look ahead to the Nuggets though. So I'm not 100% sure they're going to be focused on this Warriors squad right now, especially with how the Warriors have been playing. This is the last of a 7-game homestand for the Warriors, and that it didn't go well for them either. I know the Warriors will want to probably close this out with a win, try to build some type of momentum before they head out onto this road trip. I think one way to tackle this, like I said, from the total perspective, without Paul and Green, the Warriors are missing two key defensive players here, and then the pace should go up as well without Chris Paul. The other piece is, I think if I'm not mistaken, Zion is still questionable, right? He has that questionable tag here, and I think it would be a good idea to like wait for his status because when he's out, the Pelicans are actually 5-2 to the over. Their offense tends to actually be a little bit more efficient without him. I think the ball gets passed around a little bit more. You see a little bit more team ball. You see the three ball open up for them as well. And then also going back to the Warriors, 3-1 the over as home dogs this season, so that supports the over as well. But yeah, to me, I think the over might be the play in this one.
We're gonna have to be, it's such a strange thing. We know Golden State, fourth highest clip of chucking up threes. That should not be surprising. What's surprising is they're only about average at doing so at about 37%, and they've actually been better on the road than they've been at home hitting them. Everything that we have learned to bet with Golden State over the last couple of years, even the third quarter is a coin flip these days here. So what do we do with this game tonight against New Orleans?
Well, I don't know what everybody does, but for me, I can't play Golden State right now. They're just a horror show. Ronald talked about the seventh of a 7-game homestand, so that means they've had 6 already. They're 2-4 on this homestand. 3 times they've been beaten by double digits in this homestand on their home floor. Their defense has been absolutely horrendous during this string. They're now the 29th rated defense over the course of the last 10 games where defensive efficiency is concerned. New Orleans is number 2. Pretty big gap there. I know Skee talked earlier about all the stats to him that matter point toward over this course of time. I will say this. I'm tired of these post-game quotes. Let's just add to it now because every single time I come on this show, it seems like Steph Curry or Steve Kerr is telling you. Steph Curry's quote after just getting trashed by Toronto 133 to 118. We got punked from the jump. It happens all the time, and they don't do anything about it. Again, this desperation talk with Golden State, I think we said it the other day, it's been going on for over a month, 6 weeks maybe, and they've done nothing to do anything about it. To me, New Orleans, a team playing better ball. Ronald pointed out some statistics where they play just as well offensively, if not better, without Zion, so I'm not too worried about that. I don't know, Joe. I can't play Golden State. I think New Orleans is the right side here.
Yeah, and they've been all of a sudden figuring out how to shoot it from deep, New Orleans, too, right? Last 5 games, almost 47% from 3. Damn! They are hitting some shots here. I think Kabang could be up to something there with that total. But we do have a total that in a game that we're going to focus on here. It is our overtime section, but I do want to remind you also, before we dive into this game, that if you are joining us for the very first time, welcome in, WagerTalk TV. Hit that subscribe button, become part of the WagerTalk TV family, and gain yourself access to all of the daily and weekly content of all the big games coming up in all the sports, whether it be Wild Card Weekend, daily NBA, daily college basketball, NHL, you name it. We've got you covered here. So hit that thumbs up, those of you joining us live, and become part of the WagerTalk TV family as we are going to go down the road from me. Interesting, this game as the Miami Heat taking on everyone's favorite now, which is kind of shocking. What a difference a year makes. The Oklahoma City Thunder. Everybody loves Oklahoma City. But what I find interesting about this total, Skee, is that it's come down here a little bit. And yet I'm looking at Miami's lineup here and the guys they are trotting out. That's a lot of three-point shooting tonight for Miami on that court. I don't even, they may try to get inside the paint with Bam, but it feels like bombs away here tonight in this game. Are you leaning towards the over like I am, or do you think the under in the market is onto something here?
Well, this one is a little bit tough for me. I know Miami has been playing more under games lately, 5 of their last 6, but at the house so far this season, 10-6 to the over. And OKC, a little bit of the opposite. They've gone over 8 of their last 10 games. Something that bothers me with the over here, Joe, just looking at how teams have been playing lately, last 5 games, both bottom 10 in pace. And that's not what I really want to see. I agree, you have the number 1 and number 3 3-point shooting teams. So, if they're out there knocking them down, it still has a chance. But all it takes is a bad shooting quarter. And if they're playing slow pace, I don't really see them catching up. So I'm not running to the window to bet the over. I can understand your point as far as the 3-point shooting, but it still makes me a little bit nervous. So I guess if I don't feel confident that I can go over, I'll lean towards under.
It's an interesting game, RC, from that standpoint, because we know OKC 8-2 to the over in the last 10 games, and Skee said they've been actually pretty good, a sneaky over team at home here. So what gives? What do you think we're going to get in this one here tonight?
Yeah, I know this. You mentioned the Thunder stats to the over. They haven't really been playing any defense on this road trip that they've been on. They gave up 141 to the Hawks, 124 to the Nets, 128 to the Wizards. At the same time, they're one of the most efficient teams offensively in the league, which is why they have that such a good cluster of overs in the last 10 or whatever games it was. But if you look at the Heat side, they do play a slower pace, and if you look at their last 10 games, their defense has definitely picked up 5th in the league in defensive rating in the last 10 games. That's why you had a cluster of unders from them before that Rockets game. The thing with Miami, though, their offense is actually much more efficient at home than it is on the road, which is why the majority of the unders that they just had were on the road. This season when playing their second game home off of a road trip, I looked at that just because they have to adjust. Right, they're at the corner of the country. Wherever they go, they're going to be traveling the furthest of pretty much almost all of the teams. But second game home off of a road trip, giving them time to adjust from wherever they are. They're actually 4-0 to the over, averaging a combined score of, I think it's 240 around there. So that's well above what this total we have here is. I think the total is probably going in the wrong direction. If I were to bet this game, I would definitely look towards the over and not the under with how the Thunder have been playing recently.
All right, Vino. I know. Right? No way you look at it on. Hell no. Are you looking at an under in this spot? No way. This has got Rob Vino written all over. We got the market pushing it down. And we've talked about it before with this Miami team, especially at home. Real sneaky over spot. You just got to love it's all 3-point shooters going to be out on that court here tonight for Miami. What do you think?
Yeah, you probably could save us 3.5, 4 minutes here, Joe, and just skip right on. You know where I'm going. You talked about Miami sending 3-point shooters out there, right? And I think Ronald hit on this, how poor Oklahoma City's defense is recently. They're basically just outscoring people because nobody can stay with them. And I think, having been on the other day with Skee, I don't keep the last 5-game numbers, but I do believe that OKC was near the bottom in defense the other day over the course of the last 5. So it hasn't been good. If you're just looking specifically at 3-point shooting allowed by the Thunder, 7 of their last 9 games, teams have shot at least 36% from 3 against them, which puts Miami in a favorable spot tonight. If you look at Oklahoma City, a lot's been made of how they're playing offense by the 2 guys ahead of me. I'll just put some numbers to it. Last 10 games, 8 of those, OKC has scored over 120 points. Whether or not Miami's a good defensive team or not, to me, that gets shoved to the side by the fact that during those 10 games, Oklahoma City has played Boston, number 2 defense in the NBA. They scored 127. They played Minnesota, best defense in the NBA by the defensive efficiency numbers, scored 129. Played Denver, If they're not top 10, they're just outside the top 10, maybe number 11, scored 119 against them. So why not against this Miami team? Again, Oklahoma City, anytime that they have some rest, because they're so deep, because they're so young, because Dagnall lets them run. I don't see Miami stopping them from scoring, tell you the truth, Joe. You talked about the lineup they're putting out there. Look at all that three-point shooting. Look at all that lack of defense out there, too. So to me, 233.5 in a game here where OKC's been allowing threes. They've been scoring on everybody. For what it's worth, the difference in game total, final score average between Miami home games and Miami road, at home, their games land at 233.2 on average, which is just what we're looking at tonight. On the road, 217.2, 16-point gap. They play all their defense on the road, play better offense at home. I think I'd be on over 233 or whatever the number is now. Going the wrong way, though, like Ronald said, in my opinion.
By the way, big shout out to Coach Eric Spoelstra, who just, if you guys hadn't heard, signed a monster Skee extension there with the Miami Heat. And maybe the best part of that contract is they just executed it 1 month after his divorce was final. So kudos to Pat Riley and to the Miami Heat for waiting to sign that contract extension of $120 million. Pat Riley winning, even when Pat Riley ain't winning. He's still winning there, Skee. Outstanding stuff, Spo. All right, so we've got a total. We've got some contrarian gods. And now it is time to look at those barking dogs. Robin, let's see what we got here tonight.
That's my dog. That's my dog. That's my dog. That's my dog. And anybody got to say anything, you let me know. That's my dog.
All right, we got a little something for everyone here tonight, from pretty much pick'em prices all the way up, it looks like, to double digits with the Raptors and everything in between there. Jazz, Hornets, the Hawks. Do we even talk about the Pistons anymore? Rockets, T-Wolves there, Warriors, Heats. Come on, Skee, kick us off here, man. What's the dog you looking at tonight?
Well, I think there are a lot of good options on the board. How about I'll give you a quick two.
Oh, shoot.
And I'll start off by expanding on what I said about the Warriors. I was looking it up while these guys were talking. If you just look at the last 3 seasons, there have been 12 times the Warriors have been a home dog. They've covered 11 of them. So Warriors plus 2.5 plus 2, I think that's a very solid option for a desperate team right there at the house. And other than them, I mean, this is almost hell. Oh, hell no. Pacers minus 8.5 without Halliburton. Oh hell no. I mean, I don't care who they play, really. And I came on here and gave you guys the Wizards last time I was on, and they cashed. So we're going right back to the Wizards plus 8.5. Is no Hallie, no way.
Skee, I mean, I agree. Listen, it was nice that they rallied around in the second half and came back and beat, Boss. Congratulations, great. But now you got to lay almost double digits, and you're not a better offensive team without him. You're just not. It's crazy. I'm with you. RC, talk to me here, man. I got a little something for everyone here tonight. Where are you going for a dog to be barking?
Yeah, I gotta go back to that contrarian god play. I think the T-Wolves are the dog to bark today. I think, like I said, there's a huge over adjustment on that line because of the travel situation, and also, I think Conley's going to be resting, and also the status of Gobert as well. I just feel like there's an over adjustment here, and I think the Wolves are going to catch a Celtics team that's not 100% focused on their opponent tonight. So for me, I like the Wolves defense to keep this within the number right now.
I'm with you, man. I mean, it's not exactly been profitable to back Boston as home chalk recently. You've 9 points is a lot, RC, but Vino, there's a pick'em or two on this board here. I know you're not looking towards that way, so where's the dog coming from here tonight for you?
I'm going to go to Utah, Joe, just because
Yes.
they've been so hot as of late, right? They're 8-2 against the spread in their last 10. Inside that 10-game span, they've been an underdog 8 times and covered 7 of those as a dog. Now,
Ooh.
it's not the most favorable scheduling spot, right? Because they're off a 3-game road trip, first game back home. We often talk about that. I think that when the road trips are a little more extended than 3, it works even better against the home team in their first game back. But for Denver, it's kind of weird too. They played a couple at home. Now they're going to take this flight to Utah, then fly right back home so they can play on Friday night. So scheduling may even out a little bit. The Jazz shooting with all these guys back in the lineup has been outstanding, over 50% in 4 of their last 5 games. We do know that there's times when Denver takes a little bit of a break on the road. I mean, they've been very good lately. It's hard to point out any negatives in Denver, but I think I'm trying to point towards a lot of positives rolling right now for Utah, especially when they can have rest. On back-to-backs, they have to sit Markkanen down at this point in time, but when they have rest and everybody goes, they have the firepower to keep up with Denver. So I just thought maybe 7 is a little too much here. We'll try a hot Utah team 7-1 last 8 as a dog, plus 7 points here at home.
Yeah, they have been absolute money here over the last couple of weeks. When healthy, market hasn't caught up yet by any stretch. Love that. All right, so we've got dogs now. We got a total. We got a big game preview. And now it is the moment of truth. It is best bet time. 60 seconds on the clock. We give them that time to do whatever they want as long as they go ahead and drop us a best bet. We good with it. So, Skee, that's it. We're inbounding to you. 60 seconds on the clock. Shooter's going to shoot, man. What are you going with here tonight?
Well, I almost forgot about the best bet segment, but before I give my play, I will promo that I have a 5% play up and available on my page, and the last one I had did push, so I'm 9-2 on my last 11. That goes all the way back to March, and there's a play that I really, really love on the board for tonight. So up and available on my page. For my best bet, if you heard me talk on WagerTalk yesterday, you already know why I like this play before I even start. But Raptors and Clippers, it's a few different reasons. We'll start with, without OG, they're just playing a lot faster. That was before they added the new pieces. You add the new pieces, the pace is increased about 4 points. So I like that for them. And also a little bit of, I'm gonna call it the party guy trend for this Raptors team. Back-to-back nights in LA. These guys want to have a good time. They're not going to care about going out there and playing defense tonight. I think you get up and over the 236 with the Raptors and the Clippers.
Oh, like it. All right, it's been trending in that direction. 234 and a half early on. So moving on up. That's exactly what that total is doing there, Skee. Forgot about that. Did you hear that, Kabang? I almost forgot about the best bet section. God damn. All right, so you got it. 60. I know you didn't forget about it. 60 seconds to go here, man. Tell us, where is the best bet coming from here tonight?
Yeah, I'm looking towards that Kings and Hornets game here. The Kings are scoring 7 points less and allowing 8 points less per game on the road compared to what they do at home, which is why they're 10-5-1 to the under on the season. I look specifically on the road and on the second leg of back-to-back games. Only 2 games in that situation, but they didn't even reach 100 points in either of those games. They lost to the Pelicans 93-129. They lost to the Clippers 99-119. Obviously, the Hornets is not anywhere close to the level of those 2 teams, but the Hornets have been playing some solid defense lately, and their pace is a little bit slower without LaMelo as well. If it wasn't for that OT game, the Hornets would have kept their last 4 teams opponents under their team total. So for me, I like the under in this one. Under 230 and a half, I think, is what I'm seeing. I think both teams struggle offensively in this one. Also, these 2 teams combined for 215 when they faced each other 8 days ago. So it could be a matchup thing. I like the under here in this one.
All right. Boom. Under it is there in Sacramento, taking on the Charlotte Hornets. All right. Before we get to Rob Vino and his best bet, quick reminder. Make sure you guys hit that like button for us. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so already. And, of course, Make plans to join us each and every day here on WagerTalk TV, as if it's NBA content you like, it is NBA content we have. So, Vino, come on, my man. You're in the corner, 60 seconds on the clock. You got to shoot or pass. Something tells me you're going to shoot. Tell me, what are you going with here tonight for a best bet?
Yeah, I'm going to shoot for 15 extra seconds because I'm using a Houston Rockets game here. So don't buzz me, Robert.
Suck up.
Going to play the Bulls and the Rockets up and over 216.5. Just a quick look at the Rockets, Joe. Last 13 games they've played, 11 of those 13 have gone over this total, 216.5. Defense has fallen apart. They've allowed 50% or better from the field in 5 of their last 8. 40% or better from 3 in 5 of their last 8. A lot of that correlates to Dylan Brooks being out. He's gone for 7 games, won't be playing tonight either. In those 7 games, 5 times they've given up 120 or more. Looking at the Bulls real quick here, I think their total string that they were on earlier back in December, I think it correlates to Nikola Vucevic. Went through some numbers here. The Bulls were 12-4 over the total before Vucevic went out. He went out. They played 6 straight unders. Came back for the last 2 games, got the first one under his belt. They did go over last game. I think the number is just too light here with the Bulls Rockets going to play over 216.5.
Ooh, love it. Up and over here. Get it done there with the Bulls and the Rockets. All right, to recap it one more time for those of you too lazy to watch the show from the beginning, we're going to go Sacramento, Charlotte under 230 there, while Skee, he going Toronto and the Clippers, expecting points, 236.5. Vino, he likes the over 216.5 in that Houston and Chicago matchup. And there you got it, guys. Contrarian Gods chiming in here tonight with Minnesota. Kabang. He been, like this with the Contrarian Gods. Everyone seems to be on the same page there. So no reason not to make it a very profitable Wednesday here. And you can do so also by making sure to visit Skee, Ronald Kabang, Rob Vino, their best bets locked and loaded on their pages right now at WagerTalk.com. All right, that does it for this edition of the NBA Tip-Off Show, but don't go anywhere if you want more of those head-to-head game previews for the big games coming up later today and all week long. Just go ahead and click on that video on your screen right now and get access to all the WagerTalk TV content. Best of luck with your plays.